Welcome back to the Temple of Technology. I am your host, Scott James Magner, the idiot with a microphone. It's time for another episode of So Here's the Deal, the RS Entertainment webcast where I explore my vast media collection and talk about what each piece means to me and my friends. In this episode, we're continuing our David Lynch Film Festival with another episode of Twin Peaks Season 2. Welcome back to the collaboration room. I am here with my co-host and co-conspirator, the Queen of Darkness, Julie McGalliard herself. What? See, even now, even when we try to choreograph it, I step on your line. I am, in fact, an idiot with a microphone. It says so right here. We're getting so much better at this, but then we do this every so often. We just move it cross purposes. At least now we know where each other are. We've worked this out in the pre-show, just to know which direction we have to point, no matter what. If you haven't done this before, if you don't spend a lot of time on video calls, a lot of times your camera is mirrored. So I'm moving my right hand, but I see it on myself on the left. And this is how you look in a mirror. It's more comfortable to see yourself in a mirror than it is to see yourself in a true representation. But if you really want to do the video call, you gotta have your camera reverse itself so you know exactly where your hand is pointing and what you're doing and all this stuff goes well. It doesn't work really well for the exact kind of video that we're doing here, but I'm not a filmmaker. David Lynch is a filmmaker, and I believe, Julie, David Lynch has done a thing. What did David Lynch do that we're here to talk about?
Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks, what's that?
Twin Peaks Outlook. I just wanted to share the progress of my amigurumi log lady log. It's actually
remember, the stage left. You gotta hold it in your left.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, it is now at size. I need to find something to stuff it with. Right now, it's just got old T-shirts in it, and I do not intend to keep it stuffed with old T-shirts. And then I'll finish off the end, and then finish the details. But like, I'm very pleased. I now almost have a crocheted log of my very own, log baby of my very own.
Excellent. Excellent. And why is the log baby important to David Lynch?
Why is it important to David Lynch?
Yeah.
That's actually a good question. I just assumed that he likes trees and weird stuff, so
that works for me. Yeah.
But also there is a recurring theme in Twin Peaks. Like, you know, things like calling it Ghostwood Estates and talking about, oh, there's something in the woods or something in the woods. And then spoiler alert, there seem to be things that happen because like people go into specific trees or specific groves of trees, or people's souls getting captured by wood is like a recurring theme. So so I would say Twin Peaks, it is also it's thematic in Twin Peaks. But also Twin Peaks is supposed to be a remote logging town. And he likes remote logging towns because you know, Blue Velvet opens with a big logging truck going past. A site very familiar to those of us from the Pacific Northwest.
Yes, many a tree here, even with extensive logging. Yes, we're here to talk about Twin Peaks Season 2, and the episode we are covering today is Arbitrary Law. For those who remember, we are watching my Blu-ray copies of the Twin Peaks A to Z complete set, complete mystery, which has all of the episodes, Season 1, Season 2, Fire Walk with Me, and The Return, and then a host of special features. This thing goes on sale every so often. It's a $200-some set. Sometimes you can get it for as low as $50, and it's worth the money. It really is worth the money if you're a Twin Peaks fan. But the video quality of these is so good. It's so good, and I have taken to I have a server that we watch these on so that we can both watch the episode. I don't have to take my disc out, drive across town, hand it to Julie for her to watch it, and then she drives across town and hand me the disc back so I can watch it. We could just watch it as we go, and it really translates well to that format. And sometimes it's too good a format. For those who are watching this episode, we'll have an original standard definition clip of the log lady talking to us in the middle of all this, and you'll see the quality of the difference in quality between the log lady, even an up-converted log lady, and 4K video, which is what we're kind of recording on. So, but this is this episode was broadcast December 1st, 1990. Julie, what were you doing in December of 1990 besides watching Twin Peaks?
Let's see. I was working in software. I was living in Bellingham, Washington, with a group of, and I would have watched it. I either watched it with a group of friends, who like got together every week and watched Twin Peaks, or I watched it as a videotape that had been made for me by one of those people. And this particular one, I think we watched it as a group because I seem to remember the group discussing it. But you know, at the time, I didn't necessarily make note of that stuff because I didn't know I'd want to know it later.
Well, take heart in that you are not alone in watching this episode in December of 1990. However, it's the continuing theme for our film festival. The viewership went down by a whole point. It was 13.3 share before. It's 12.4 share here. And this is even a Mark Frost written episode. It's the downward trajectory. It's gonna keep going down. It's not the best thing to have happen, especially with the sort of things that happen in this episode that should have brought people back. And we'll talk about those certainly in both our first impressions and our expanded coverage. But for our overview, we'll talk about this was written by Mark Frost, Harley Peyton, and Robert Engels. Now, the last time these three wrote together was 3 episodes ago, Demons. It was a Harley Peyton and Robert Engels collaboration. And then Laura's Secret Diary, to the 4th episode of this season, was the same people plus Jerry Stahl. So most of this season to date has been written by the people who wrote this episode. It's very tight, it's very coherent, but it's not enough. It didn't save what was going on. Tim Hunter directed this. Tim Hunter has done a lot of stuff on television. He did Falcon Crest. He did Homicide: Life on the Street. You know, he did most of my favorite shows, like Crossing Jordan, Carnival, Breaking Bad. But a really interesting thing that he directed is American Horror Story. And I can see his work on American Horror Story right here in this episode. It's amazing. The horror. You got to enunciate when you say horror on the internet, because people will take clips out of context. To see the horror elements of this episode on full display, because this is a horror story.
You could also say it like Ellen Datlow, who's from New York, so she says horror.
Horror, yeah. He graduated from Harvard. His first writing credits were in 1979, 1980, but he has been directing things pretty much nonstop since 1982. His first TV credit here, if I look it up, was on Falcon Crest. He did 2 episodes of Falcon Crest, and then he did 2 episodes of Twin Peaks here. Then he moved on to Beverly Hills 90210, the TV show Dark Justice, and then the TV show Erie, Indiana. And if you see a theme there, you're right. This guy knows him some horror. And I count Falcon Crest as a horror show. I grew up in California. What more do we need to say about this episode? We talked about last episode in our coverage that last episode of Drive with the Dead Girl is the one where shit happens, and the one before that was the one where shit happens. More shit happens in this episode, and when you view them all three together, it is a continuous punch in the metaphorical gut. It just keeps hitting you over and over and over again until in this episode we actually get a bit of release. I have a cat coming in here. You all might get to see a cat. That'll be fun.
How's your cat?
Kitty. Oh, they don't like the green screen.
Oh.
So having to navigate around the green screen if I don't leave enough room means that they will just go, yeah, I'm good. He'll come out eventually.
Yeah.
The cats. What can you do?
Sure. I'll read the plot summary.
Excellent. So this is your first episode of the David Lynch Film Festival, and so here's the deal. We tend to go to Wikipedia to read plot summaries because we find them hilarious. They're not always representative of the piece that we have watched, but they are entertaining, to be sure.
All right. Wiki plot summary. Cooper asks Truman not to report Maddie's death yet, believing he is on the verge of solving the case. Revealing that Mrs. Tremond's grandson had said, "J'ai un âme solitaire" to her, Donna decides to visit Mrs. Tremond with Cooper and Andy. They find a woman claiming to be Mrs. Tremond, despite being decades younger and having no children. Mrs. Tremond gives Donna an envelope containing a page from Laura's diary, revealing that Laura shared Cooper's Red Room dream. Leland is agitated when he sees Donna wearing Laura's sunglasses and receives a call from Maddie's mother, who reports her missing. Leland poises to attack Donna, but is distracted by Truman, who reports there's been another murder. Donna realizes with despair that Maddie is dead and tells James, who leaves town on his motorcycle in exile. Following his instincts, Cooper brings Ben, Leland, Ed, and Major Briggs to the roadhouse. The giant and the waiter appear, and Cooper recalls what Laura whispered in his dream. "My father killed me." Cooper and Truman arrest Leland, and Bob taunts them. Bob leaves Leland's body, leaving Leland horrified by his actions. Cooper holds Leland as he dies. Truman speculates that Bob has escaped.
Bob! That summary is like McDonald's cheeseburger with no cheese. It's a burger, but it's entirely unsatisfying. That doesn't even come close to describing what went on in this episode, while it contains many bits of things that actually took place. We'll talk about that a lot more in our expanded coverage. Just so you know, our first impressions are going to describe an episode nothing like the one we just read about on Wikipedia. But the one person who does know everything about Twin Peaks is our friend the Log Lady, who has a log of her own that she didn't have to knit. So let's check in with her, and we'll be right back for first impressions.
So now the sadness comes. The revelation. There is a depression after an answer is given. It was almost fun not knowing. Yes, now we know. At least we know what we sought in the beginning. But there is still the question, why? And this question will go on and on until the final answer comes. Then the knowing is so full, there is no room for questions.
Diane. In first impressions, we should talk about, well, our first impressions on viewing the piece, introduce plot summaries or trailers, and engage in general chit-chat about the individual episode or the movie.
Thanks, Log Lady. And for those of you listening to us in the far future as an audio-only podcast, Julie is going to repeat what our dear friend Margaret has just said to us. Take us away, Queen of Darkness.
So now the sadness comes, the revelation. There is a depression after an answer is given. It was almost fun not knowing. Yes, now we know. At least we know what we sought in the beginning. But there is still the question, why? And this question will go on and on until the final answer comes. Then the knowing is so full, there is no room for questions. That's remarkably, I don't know, spiritual almost.
I didn't take that as a spiritual thing. I took that as David Lynch saying this.
Okay, I was thinking specifically from the log lady's perspective.
Sure.
But yes, okay. Yeah.
That's David Lynch saying, you got what you wanted, studio execs. You got what you wanted. Here it is. Now, that log lady intro was recorded 3 years after the show ended and after Fire Walk with Me had come out, right? Twin Peaks is done. It's done and dead and dusted. It was for an encore release on a different streaming channel many years after the fact. But that's David Lynch getting salty through the log lady. It's saying, you got your answers, but why? And spoilers, we still don't know. We have a great, solid idea of why 40 years later, 30 years later, but 35 years now, 36 years now. Oof, we're getting old. We are getting old. But we're not there. And our first impressions, boy howdy. I watched this again. I remember this episode. I didn't remember how hard it hits. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think this episode hit as hard when I watched it in 1998, or even when I watched it in 2018, as it hit now. And it may be an expanded coverage topic more than anything, but I am a much older person, and I have had some experiences. And watching this episode play out and seeing all the bits spiral in as a storyteller, I love this episode. I absolutely love this episode until the last 5 minutes of it, because all the things that we've been talking about, the teen detectives being inept and just bumbling around through the teen detectives actually did something important in this episode. Andy and his absent-mindedness is the key to unraveling the entire mystery, because he is the one, he's noodling about the final words that Harold Smith had written down in his supposed suicide note. Still don't believe Harold Smith killed himself, but if he did, what he wrote on the suicide note is that je t'aime more, I am a lonely soul. Andy is saying it over and over and over again to himself to try to figure out what it means. Even though it's been translated for them, he doesn't know what it means, so he keeps saying the words aloud. And in the diner, Donna hears him say it, and Donna has high school French, so she doesn't know all the good French. To be fair, I have high school French too. I took French many times, but it was always French 1 over and over and over again. And when she finds out what it meant, she remembers the little boy, Mrs. Tremont's grandson, who had the
cream corn boy.
The cream corn boy had said those words exactly. And she wants to go right now. I need to talk to Agent Cooper. Andy, take me to Agent Cooper. And it was the most responsible grown-up thing she's done in this entire series. She saw a problem, and she reached out to a figure of authority who might be able to help her, rather than going all teen detective. And I was so happy about that for about 25 minutes until she does another stupid thing in going to confront Leland Palmer on her own. I don't believe she had twigged to the fact of Maddie or Laura's actual murder at that point, but she puts herself right in the path of a serial killer who is the exact embodiment of evil. And he is sizing her up as his next meal the entire time. And he tries to kill her in the Palmer house until somebody knocks on the door or the phone rings. or something. But Donna is going to be the next victim. She's going to be wrapped in plastic with something shoved under her fingernail. And she escapes by the narrowest of margins and then gets away. And everything kind of goes crazy after that. I could summarize a lot of what I saw in this, but I kind of, for once, don't want to give my full impressions because I want people to have watched this episode. This is one where I don't want to light the spoiler lamp early. I want people to experience the storytelling of this episode more than the plot, how everything is put together. Julie, what are your first impressions?
You know, my first impression, I still think that Ray Wise's Bob/Leland is really good in these three episodes. And I think I tend to think of them as a single unit, I guess, story-wise, where you know, like I some of these elements I couldn't remember, like, oh, which episode did it happen in? So I really like what happens in this. I really like the creepiness. But I feel like the pacing is a little off. Like it feels very rushed to me. Like there's kind of this frantic quality, like which would make sense if it were like the last episode of the season. But there's like 13 more episodes this season in which nothing important happens. So, so I'm really struck freshly by wondering why didn't they stretch out that time period where the audience knows who killed Laura, but the characters don't? Because again, that scene where he almost kills Donna is so scary. And I would have enjoyed at least a couple more episodes of scenes like that.
Yeah, maybe Bob is frustrated, goes and kills somebody at random, right? Not somebody who's connected
Yeah, I
in there,
mean,
and that's what leads to his downfall. The
yeah.
way that Bob is caught out is almost completely by accident.
Although I do like the callback to the dream.
Yeah.
I think that's the callback to the creepy creamed corn kid. I I feel like this does a pretty good balance between Cooper as the mystic weirdo and Cooper and friends as regular, law guys. Um, Overall, I think. Well, again, the arbitrary is almost is a weirdly fitting word for it because like one of the things that happens in this episode is that Donna and James are super lovey-dovey with this kind of this vibe, like they're proposing to each other. And then James finds out that Maddie's dead and he just takes off into the sunset. It just feels super arbitrary. So, yeah, so I would say that my overall impression of this is it's a good episode, interesting things happen in it, good performances, but it feels kind of rushed and arbitrary in a way that I've never really understood why it's like that. Because it isn't the last episode of the season. So,
yeah, I mean this
rush?
feels like acts 4 and 5 of a 5-act story, right? And that the first act would be Lonely Souls, and it definitely you get a third act boom when Maddie is murdered, or second act boom into the third act, and then the third act is the Heart of Darkness, and that's Drive with the Dead Girl. And I think I might even have mentioned this last time, I don't know, but it's an entirely third act, right? It is, you are stuck in tension the entire time in Drive with the Dead Girl, and then here you got a tiny bit of release and you're climbing up out of the darkness, but then you just go right back into the darkness because Tim Hunter and Mark Frost put us there. They wanted us to dwell in darkness in the worst way, and I'm here for it. But the end of Leland Palmer, it's been 37 years, we could talk about this. The end of Leland Palmer is vicious and cruel in a way that only Bob can be vicious and cruel. And we were talking a little bit about this in our pregame, but Bob could kill Leland at any time and chose to do it when it would be fun for Bob. What can I get the most out of this, right? And the entire time that they are interrogating Bob, and everyone knows that they're talking to Bob and not Leland. One, Cooper says it out loud, and two, Ray Wise has the demeanor on him, and every so often you'll just see Bob in the chair instead of Leland in the chair. And it was really well cut, really well put together. But he is just saying, yeah, Leland's gonna die soon, and then I'm coming for you. He's staring right at Dale Cooper. It's like, wow, way to telegraph that one. That was amazing. To see that seed laid here. Maybe one of the most important things that happens in this episode is Bob taunting Dale Cooper with Dale Cooper's darkness, which apparently Bob can see. And that's more of an expanded coverage thing. I'm going to talk a lot about Bob and his relationship with people. But my first impression, which is my third impression, being a storyteller now and a novelist that I didn't used to be, is that was just so well done. Guy's tied to a chair. He has no power whatsoever, but he's the one running the show. Right? That psycho tied to a chair who knows he can kill everyone in the room and just says, that'd be boring. It's more fun to torture you. Let me torture you some more. I thought it was great. You know what we don't see in this episode? Sarah Palmer. Where is she? Where is she gone? Is she upstairs the entire time? Is she still zonked out on a bed somewhere? Is she in the trunk of Leland's car? I don't know. She's just gone. And there's a bunch of people who should be around but aren't. One thing I liked was Norma's interaction with her mother.
Oh.
Where she's just picking at her food and going, this is awful. What did you just make this over the trash can?
She
and I'm thinking to
literally
myself,
spits the eggs out as
yeah,
if they're as if they're spoiled or something.
Yeah, and I thought, is Bob around now? Is something happening? Is the food spoiling? No. She's just a naughty person. I'm not going to use the 5-letter word that rhymes with itch. She's a naughty person that rhymes with itch. And Norma has had enough of her shit. Has had enough of her shit for years and years and years and says, what do I have to do, mother? What do I have to do for you? And I love that exchange. It's meaningless in this episode. It doesn't belong here. There's no point to having Norma in this episode or her mother in this episode because Norma's husband isn't around. Nobody else is around the diner except for the kids in the corner. And as a slice of, hey, setting up that we're in the diner, Norma owns the diner, that's great, that's awesome. We didn't need that. We didn't need that because we can clearly see that Donna and James are in the diner. And we clearly see that Andy is in the diner. Andy has no connection to those eggs, no real connection to Norma. No one serves him coffee. He's just sitting there speaking French to himself the entire time, which draws the attention of Donna. And so, beautiful bit of scenery, beautiful bit of acting. It's just completely wasted in this plot. It's just jammed right in. And as Julie said, it's very rushed. You could give me 30 more seconds of Bob and I wouldn't complain one bit. Give me 30 seconds of Dale Cooper scratching his head, or 30 seconds of saying, hey, Albert, welcome back to Twin Peaks. How was Seattle? Fine, Dale. How's Twin Peaks been? Are you treating your gunshot wounds? No, I have not been treating my gunshot wounds, Albert. Have them interact as friends or colleagues or something like that before they're in the power walk going to see Maddie's body. And then everyone's sad because, oh shit, another one's dead.
I do like the power walk, though.
The power walk is awesome. It was so
I
good.
mean, power walk immediately followed by Dutch angles, baby.
Yep. And any time we get to see our boy Miguel Ferrer on screen is going to be a happy time. When we cover the next series after this, which is On the Air, there'll be all sorts of Miguel Ferrer, and I'll be so happy. Yeah, it was rushed but awesome. It was great but bloated. It was fantastic until it wasn't. This episode is all over the place, but it's a huge positive for me. I heard about you, Twin Peaks Season 2. And that's kind of where we are with weird waiters in the middle of nowhere. Anything else before we move on to our expanded coverage?
No, I think that's it for my immediate impressions. Oh, actually, though, one thing. Maybe this is expanded coverage. I don't know. But when I was rewatching this with my husband, who at the time we were dating, we weren't married. We watched this new, and we got into a little debate over who is more evil, Catherine or Ben Horn. I think Ben Horn is much more evil because while they're both despicable people, Catherine doesn't have vulnerable children to hurt.
It's a power dynamic. It's definitely an expanded coverage topic, but it's a great first impression to talk about Nakamura and Ben Horn pleading with Nakamura to let him help me out. You know, I'm stuck here in this thing. My life is falling apart, but I really want to do this real estate deal. It's like, dude, your daughter was kidnapped, held at heroin point, nearly murdered, probably raped, and only rescued by Dale Cooper, who you treated like shit the entire time. Good job, Ben Horn, Father of the Year. And then Catherine Martell, your years-long lover, comes to really stick it to you. And your response is, once you find out it's Catherine, oh, you give me an alibi. And she says, yeah, I could. I'll think about it. Priceless. So good. And
yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Catherine fan, but during that scene, I was like, get his ass.
Get him. Get him. Yeah. All right. So let's just roll right into expanded coverage, and we'll talk about that in just a moment.
In expanded coverage, we talk about the greater universe, mythology of the piece, any cool personal takeaways, and tie the media into the greater works of David Lynch. It's better if I'm closer to Dave.
I want to be closer to Dave.
It's closer to Dave. Let's get closer to Dave.
That's a shot right there. We use that as our. That's going to be our thumbnail for YouTube right there.
All right.
It'll be awesome. We're recording, by the way. I didn't know if you noticed. I set us live.
All right.
Keep all this footage, all of it. We're keeping all the footage. It's a conversation. We treat this as if we're talking at a science fiction convention on a panel. So
I would probably be more drunk under those circumstances.
Oh, absolutely. Well, this, who knows what's in here?
This could be anything.
All right. As we said in the bumper, our expanded coverage is where we dive deep into the universe of David Lynch. Boy, did this feel like a David Lynch directed episode, but it wasn't. Tim Hunter, he completed the assignment. The Mark Frost writing team got him to where he needed to be. Are we gonna fight?
I actually disagree. I think the direction doesn't feel very Lynchian at all. Particularly the fact that things feel rushed. Like that is not rushed is not a word that I associate with any David Lynch directed property. He's kind of known for the opposite. The other thing is that some of the things that are stylish about it. Now, granted, the hero shot, David Lynch could have done that one, but the Dutch angles, Lynch never does Dutch angles. Well, okay, not never. He probably does. I don't know, but it is not something I noticed as a feature of any of his Twin Peaks episodes. And I also feel like David Lynch has a particular way his transitions, like there's a texture to it, there's a feel to it, and I really don't think this episode has that feel, that texture. Like, for example, I feel like one of the things that Lynch does is really unexpected ways of getting into and out of scenes. And this episode's pretty conventional when it comes to getting in and out of scenes. So anyway,
I definitely agree with you there. I just, I guess I'm talking about the way it made me feel more than the technical proficiency of it. It felt very Twin Peaks to me. Now, to be fair, most of the Twin Peaks doesn't feel exactly like David Lynch. It feels like David Lynch adjacent. Right? The stuff that he actually directs and that he actually writes, oh yeah, it's out of nowhere, like the Cream Corn Kid. What the hell is that? But Mark Frost is right there with him the entire time. That Frost, the Frost part of Frost Lynch is on display here, I thought. You're right, it's no Mulholland Drive, it's no Lost Highway. Things that are so unsettling that I've only seen them once. You know, and I'm actually looking forward to watching them again. That's the genesis of this entire film festival, was Julie and I getting to watch Lost Highway and Mulholland Drive together, because nobody ever wants to watch those with us. We'll get there eventually. It'll be fun. But this felt like the universe of Twin Peaks to me, in a way that episodes previous to Demons didn't. You know, I mean, Harold Smith might as well never have existed, except for the part where he ripped a page out of the diary and sent it to somebody who may or may not be Mrs. Tremond so that Donna would get it. When did he do that? When did he even know that that would be necessary? Because the person who would do that, the torture people, is Bob. Which leads me to believe that Harold Smith did not kill himself.
It's possible, although, you know, I feel like if Harold Smith really didn't kill himself, that we would have gotten some hints about that somewhere else in the Lynchian universe, and there's no hint of that. For example, your observation about Bob and the water.
Yeah.
So during the scene where you know, Bob fully comes out and then Leland is killed and then dies, the sprinklers are going off. And I thought that it was just Bob freaking out because, well, the jig is up, and that he basically makes Leland, you know, bang his head against the wall until he dies because he needs to get out and find another host. But you had a different thought.
I did.
You thought it looked...
I thought it looked like the water was actually hurting him. So there's a subplot in this episode, a continuing subplot, that is Lucy, Andy, and Dick Tremaine, and Lucy's baby. All four of them are in some weird, not even codependent thing. They're just in this weird space where 50% chance that either Andy or this Dick Tremaine could be the father of Lucy's baby. And we still don't know in the return. It's just never something that they care about. But they're making plans in this episode. It's like, yeah, when the baby is born, we will all get blood tests, and then we will know who the baby's father is. And Dick Tremaine couldn't care less, right? I don't fucking care. Yeah, even if it is my kid, I don't care. And Andy says, but I want it to be my baby. And Lucy kind of wants to be Andy's baby too, because Dick Tremaine is what?
A jerk.
He's a jerk. And then he just lights up in the middle of the police station, going to Andy, do you have a light?
The 90s were a different time.
But Andy just stares at him and goes, no. He's like, oh, well, Dick Tremaine had a light the entire time. He just wanted to exert power over Andy and make Andy light his cigarette. And so he blows the cigarette. There's a big Chekhov smoke detector scene earlier where this guy is coming in. He replaces the smoke detectors. He's talking to Lucy the entire time, saying, oh, yeah, you really should have done this before, but it'll work now. Everything is fine. And it's like, okay, great. Well, the smoke detector's going to go off because that's how television works. And guess what? Somebody smokes in a room with a smoke detector, and the television goes off, and the sprinklers go off. And at that moment, Bob has, using Leland, has taunted Cooper and saying, Leland's going to die soon. You'll never get to have justice. And then I will go free. And then I'm coming for you. Right? And then the way that that happens is they lock him up and he's tied to a chair. But when the sprinklers go off, Bob screams. He screams, not his crazy man scream. He screams like he's in pain. He bursts out of the chair and busts his restraints off, and he's standing in the middle of the room, and it's flashing between Ray Wise and he's just screaming, ah, and then he goes, eh, and he runs at the wall and beats Leland to death with Leland, while they're all frantically trying to get the keys and get in there to stop this. They don't know what's happening. They just know that there's the boom, 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 and the screaming. And Dale intuits that the sprinklers going off is bad. Something has happened. They run in there. But I think that the insertion of the water, an unexpected thing, a thing that Bob couldn't control, bothered him and moved him to make his move early. I think he wanted to jump into Dale Cooper, and it just wasn't possible. He had to jump somewhere else so that Leland could suffer the last humiliation. And then Leland dies. But first, Dale Cooper talks him through death. Talking about there's a light, go into the light, Leland. Leland is not going to fucking heaven. He is not. He is not going towards the light. He is just dying. He's just dying is a line from Inland Empire, which we'll get to 20 some years from now. But he's just dying. And that's how it's represented. It's like, yeah, there's no redemption for him. There's no justice for him. He's going to die because he did bad things. And Bob did some of those things. But what Leland is saying is that Bob got into him when he was very young, when they were playing together. And that says to me, wow, what could you possibly have done at the age of 6 to warrant an evil, malevolent murderer to jump inside your body and wear you like a glove for 40 years?
Although,
right?
Honestly...
Jump in.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, if it goes like it did with Bob and Laura,
mm-hmm.
then Bob was like trying to get at Laura for a long time and never did actually succeed in taking her over. So it is possible that Bob didn't enter Leland until much later in life. Or it's also possible he's making that up. I mean, honestly,
that could still have been Bob for all we know, right? He could be pretending to be Leland dying to sow the seeds of doubt in Cooper, and then he jumps into an owl and flaps away. Beware the owls. There are owls in the forest. But that's the part of the episode that fails for me, is the ending, because I think he should have just died. I didn't want that confession. I didn't want to feel sorry for Leland Palmer. Leland Palmer's a very bad man. And he was a bad man when he wasn't murdering people to be Bob. He was just bad. And we're talking in First Impressions about who's worse, Catherine Martell or Ben Horne. It's Ben Horne every time, because Ben Horne is making choices. He is choosing to be evil. A bad person. In fact, I think that's where Bob wanted to go, is Ben Horne. But because there's another daughter out there he can corrupt and do horrible things to. But that moment where Bob is not in control anymore and screams out his frustration was a really cool moment for me as a storyteller. Again, as a storyteller and as a fan of television. It's like, I don't understand what's going on, but I like the way it makes me feel. In ways that what happens immediately after, where Dale is life coaching Leland through his death, describing what's going to happen to him. You don't fucking know, Dale. Your death experience... you talked to a friendly giant and sat in a room and chewed bubblegum with somebody who's dead and a little person who talks backwards, right? That's your death experience. There was no going into the light there. You were just stuck in a room for all time. And where does he get this knowledge? What part of Dale Cooper qualifies him to be this person for Leland Palmer as Leland Palmer is dying? I don't know. It's not given to me. And it bothered me. It bothered me so much that it colors my like for this episode. That last 5 minutes, I don't like it so much. It ends badly for me. The scene in the Roadhouse where Dale just gathers everybody together, right? It's very Scooby-Doo, and it's the kind of thing that the teen detectives would do, but Dale Cooper's doing it instead. And he's doing it because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He's very Philo Vance in this moment. He says, I don't know what's going on, but I know I need to have everybody there. Because he's remembering seeing the giant at the Roadhouse the night that Maddie was murdered. He's remembering 2 episodes ago. When they were all there at the Roadhouse enjoying themselves, and all of a sudden everybody is sad. Because at that moment, Bob has killed Maddie, and they all know it. They're all connected to Maddie, and they can feel Maddie die. They don't know why they're sad. They just know that they are, and that the giant is involved because he sees him up on stage when that happens. So Dale Cooper wants to go back there, put all the pieces together, make sense of the dream and all the things that he was told that he doesn't understand. So I like that a lot. And it shows that Dale is connected to a lot of different things, just not on the level where he's going to talk Leland through dying. I expect that from Albert. I really would. But Dale Cooper got there first, so I don't know what's going on. But one thing I loved immediately after that scene is Harry Truman sitting against a tree going, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I've lived in these woods my entire life, and I have never seen something like that. It's like, wow, yeah. Embrace it. Embrace it, Harry. There's crazy mystical stuff up there, and you've been dancing around knowing about crazy stuff before, but you're... Until this moment, I think Harry Truman has been dealing with the evil that men do. And now he knows that there's something else. He believes that Bob exists now. Albert is there comforting Harry through all this, which was an amazing bit of acting on his part to go all the way through this. The animosity has gone on. It's like, no. Albert sees someone in pain and walks the path of Malcolm and Gandhi like he said he would. He's showing us that he's doing this. He's committed to this portion of life. So that was great. That was great stuff. I know I talked a while there. But...
No, it's good. I actually, I wanted to hop in because I looked up Frank Silva, and
Frank Silva.
I just wanted to do a little RIP on Frank Silva.
Yeah.
According to his Wikipedia entry, he went after Twin Peaks. He went through a period of depression because he couldn't find other acting roles. Eventually became homeless before moving in with his mother. Ultimately placed in a furnished apartment subsidized by the state of Washington. On September 13th, 1995, Silva died from AIDS-related complications at the age of 44.
Oh, it's rough. I had no idea. I should have looked that up. Nobody talked about AIDS other than it existed. Now I'm going to be sad.
Sorry.
But
pour one out for Frank Silva.
Pour one out. Well, not this, because I'm still drinking it.
Yeah.
I'll pour one out from this. It's masterful. The cuts between Bob as Bob and Bob as Leland and Leland as Bob. And it was just, it was my favorite part of this episode. Is the various guises and looks at Bob that we have, where there's Bob as Leland says to Donna, it's like, I know what you need. This always makes me happy. He's like, oh, fuck, he's going to kill her right now. When he goes over and he needle drops and he goes, dance with me, dance with me. She goes, I don't know if, okay, I guess we're dancing.
Right.
God, the creeps. I get the chills just now. 24 hours since the last time I saw it. And I'm still going, maybe he will kill her this time.
Yes.
So good.
There's also a little tidbit, because you know that I like to claim that the X-Files Twin Peaks basically invented modern TV as we have come to know it, and that without it, there would be no X-Files, there would be no Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Quentin Tarantino wouldn't have a career, but like basically modern prestige television wouldn't exist without Twin Peaks. And there's a scene in this episode where there's a close-up on a gold ring falling out of nowhere onto a concrete floor. And that exact shot was used repeatedly in Buffy season 3.
Mm-hmm. I know the exact
I think it's in the opening. About. Yeah, you know the exact. Yes, exactly. And so I'm kind of like, well, the Buffy people had to have watched Twin Peaks. I mean, come on.
You know, Joss watched it. He was writing television at the time, and his father was big on television. Yeah, that's like, I'm missing my ring, Harry. And here goes, what? I don't understand. I'm missing my ring. The giant took it. It's like, what giant? Because no one has seen the giant but Dale. Right. He told them about the ring before, but he mentions that this is important. Missing my ring. We don't know the significance of that ring. I think we've talked briefly about how he got the ring, but in the show, not us particularly, but in the show, they talk briefly about the Dale Cooper's ring. But to see it fall out of the sky and just go thump, didn't bounce, didn't do nothing, it went to the ground. It's like, oh, the ring means something. And the giant took it and says, I need this. And we needed to bring him to the realization of all the things that go on. So, spoilers. It's not mentioned at all in that summary over there. I'm pointing at the summary because it still annoys me. But everyone gets together at this roadhouse, and Dale says, it feels like something's missing. Someone's missing. And then Garland Briggs, Major Garland Briggs, walks in with the old man waiter. It says, I found this fine gentleman walking along the side of the road looking for a ride, so I gave him one. And it's like, thanks, Garland Briggs. You're awesome. And then the old guy is just going, hey! With the thumb up, he walks over and says, he's offering people gum, and no one takes the gum, except for Leland Palmer. Bob screws up. So I love this gum. I ate this when I was a kid. And then, good news, that gum you like's come back in style. But then the old man waiter says that. He speaks aloud lines from Dale's dream, which he was adjacent to as Dale was dying. But not exactly. And then Dale looks at the gum, thinks about his dream. And Dale's dream unlocks all the things that happened to him in the dream, in the Red Room, unlock because of that old man. Oh, right? That guy has a rich backstory that we never see because it's not necessary. He's just the old guy. He even leaves at the end of the episode going, your milk's going to get warm, but it'll still be good. And,
Did we see him again? I'm not sure we see him.
I thought we were done seeing him last time, and then we saw him again here.
Yeah, so I don't know.
He just keeps showing up again. We might see him again. Hell, we might see that crazy judge again, even though we know we don't. Because right now, all bets are off. Who knows what's going to happen next, except for what we know is going to happen next, which is a whole bunch of nothing for the next 13 episodes. Not that we're salty and bitter about this 37 years later, but we kind of are. Twin Peaks ended tonight and doesn't pick up again until 2018. And now there's a lot of cool stuff, but you figure maybe Audrey needs to be there, right? Audrey brushed up against darkness. Audrey was Laura's friend, or she cared a lot about Laura. Donna needs to be there. She's not there. Ed's there for no reason anyone could name, simply because he's just there. Who's taking care of Nadine? I don't know. Leo gets wheeled in by Bobby, who's surprised as hell to see his father there. It's like, well, yeah, your dad has a rich life that doesn't involve you, Bobby. By your choice, Bobby sucks a lot. Not as much as Leo, but he sucks a lot. But why is Leo even there, right? That's medically unsound. That guy needs constant care and disruption. And Bobby got in there, what, on his motorcycle? In the convertible? In the truck somehow? I don't know. And where's Shelley? Right? She had to quit the diner to take care of Leo. But here's Bobby taking care of Leo. So where's Shelley? Just doesn't make a lot of sense. The people that were there in the room needed to be there. He called those people specifically, but why? The only people that needed to be there are the old man, apparently, and Leland Palmer and Ben Horn. So that they can arrest Ben Horn and trick Leland into coming back into custody. That was, I think, really what done. That's one of the bits of plotting that I like a lot about this episode. But I half expect to see the log lady sitting there in a corner chewing pitch. Hawk gets 3 lines. That was great. Thanks, Hawk. So what we talked about how this is not filmed in Lynch style, and Lonely Souls was filmed by David Lynch and written by Mark Frost. So that started up this run up here. It was a great David Lynch episode, the 17.2 share, which dropped 4 points the next week, and then another point from there. So we are 5 million households short of where we were the last time David Lynch directed. But what tropes can we take away? What Lynchian tropes have survived into this episode?
Oh, well, I definitely think that going just the generalized surrealism of going to where Mrs. Tremond is, and there's a completely different person there saying, "What? I don't know the old lady. I don't know any old lady. I don't have a kid with cream corn living with me." So I would say that's a very Lynchian thing. Obviously the supernatural elements are really at play here, and I think Lynch, not all of his properties have that overt supernatural element, but Twin Peaks definitely does. So I would say it's full of Twin Peaks Lynchianisms.
Which we could call those Frostisms, right? We
We
could have
could call them
Frostian tropes
Frostisms.
to talk about
Frostian
instead of
tropes.
Lynchian tropes.
Let's see. Yeah, this episode, I would say that the sprinklers going off is a Lynchian kind of thing, because I think one of his stylistic obsessions is things like, lights that are swinging or fizzing on and off, sprinklers that go off at inappropriate times, and
Elevators that don't
like kind
work.
of, yeah, little malfunctions of the modern world, I would say, is a recurring David Lynch trope.
So tasty.
See, definitely the fact that Leland puts on creepy old-timey
Oh, yeah.
music before he almost tries to kill Donna.
Well, run while you can, Donna. Jane's got the message. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would say that using old-timey hits in a creepy way is very consistently David Lynch. It's a definite David Lynchism.
Should we talk about Mike in this episode?
Uh, One-armed Mike?
One-armed Mike. So, yeah, not the crazy Mike from high school, but the crazy Mike who used to kill people with Bob. So they've got him locked up in a room at the Great Northern and essentially tied to a bed so that Mike can't hurt Philip Gerard, whose body he's in. But Dr. Hayward is pleading with Dale Cooper to let him give the shot. And they send to calm down. It's like, nope, I need to talk to Mike. I need to talk to Mike. It's like, wow, that's hardcore shit. Right? It's like we're zooming in on Bob here. You need to talk to us. We need to talk about Bob. I mean, Mike is all for it, but he knows that he's burning that body out. I mean, that's almost a death sentence for Philip Gerard to have Mike riding him for that long. And Dale Cooper does not care. And I thought our obligatory Dr. Hayward appearance was really nice to be the voice of reason. But you know who wouldn't have had any problem while doing that? Albert, who's right there in the hallway or in the room or somewhere in Twin Peaks. And so it didn't make a lot of sense for Albert to show up, deliver a couple of bon mots about Sufi wisdom, and then not do Albert things. It's just kind of strange to have those drop-ins like that. But it's also somewhat Lynchian, right? The non sequitur, the person who doesn't belong. And that's Dick Tremaine, it's Dr. Hayward. Those guys don't belong in this town. They should go somewhere else before they comes for them too. Dale Cooper certainly doesn't belong in this town. It's going to end badly for him. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's the spoiler section. I talked about the water. The dream, the giant, all those things. And I wish other people could see the things that Dale Cooper could see. But at the same time, I'm happy that they don't. I love the moment with Sheriff Truman I talked about. He just doesn't understand what's going on. His girlfriend has left town without a word. Crazy weird stuff is going on. One of his best friends is revealed to be a murderer. Another one is probably committed murder at some point in Ben Horn. But, we don't have anything we can actually charge him with other than being an asshole. There'll be securities fraud in his future, we hope. But having seen the rest of this season, we don't get that rich end for Ben Horn that we need to get. Jerry Horn's out looking for a lawyer for Ben, which is nice. If we never see Tojimura again, that'd make me happy. But that would mean Catherine Martell having to reveal herself, at which point she'll have to testify one way or the other. So she'll perjure herself or just leave town again. It's unclear. But that's a nice seed laid down that I don't think ever pays off the way we want it to. I watching this episode, I got a giant Lost Highway vibe from it. Which is kind of my least favorite Lynch offering, but again, I've only seen it once. It's one of those movies that I can't watch again without context, and I think I'm getting that context here from Twin Peaks, because this cyclical wackiness going on. That's what's in Lost Highway. I mean, they could drive right through the middle of Twin Peaks and we wouldn't notice. It's no Wild at Heart, that's for sure. It's no Blue Velvet. It's just kind of adjacent. It's Lynch adjacent. Bit of trivia about Mark Frost. It's a little known fact that Michael Keaton, Batman himself, Mr. Mom, who was Michael Douglas at the time, before he was a big actor. But Michael Keaton was a grip on the Mr. Rogers show. And so was Mark Frost. They both worked lighting and scene direction and stuff way back then. So that's just amazing that you go from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood to Twin Peaks and all the other stuff that they've written together. Oh, crap, really? Found out that Mark Frost was one of the two writers on the 2005 Fantastic Four movie.
I was just gonna share that.
My world turned upside down.
I mean, looking at his screenwriting credits, other than Twin Peaks stuff, it's not that distinguished of a career, really.
Oh, look at this. An uncredited writer on Nightbreed. Okay, well, I really like Nightbreed. I could see that in there. Yeah, both of those Fantastic Four movies. Holy crap. 2 episodes of $6 Million Man. I own those. Yep, 2 episodes of The Equalizer. On the Air, he did 2 episodes. So we'll definitely be covering that in our bits. Julie, what more atmospheric bits do we want to talk about?
I don't have anything else on my list, actually. This is not this is not one of the episodes that gave me a big long list of things I was just dying to say.
Yeah, I kind of carried first impressions a little too far, and final thoughts for that matter. All right, well, let's move on then. We'll talk about our final thoughts about this episode.
Diane, my final thoughts. We should share the important things we want people to take away from this week's show.
All right, so welcome back to the Queen of Darkness's final thoughts about Arbitrary Law. You've already heard mine.
Yes, my final thoughts on this episode are, I still don't understand why it feels so rushed, why they didn't stretch out the incredibly creepy storyline of the audience knowing who killed Laura and the characters not knowing yet. We could have had at least a couple more episodes without it feeling overly stretched out. But this episode feels very rushed to me, and that would make sense if there was some kind of studio pressure or if it was the last episode of the series, but there's not really any particular reason for it. And I looked all through the internet, like, why does this episode feel so rushed? And it just does. But as you observed, this is definitely the inflection point where everybody, even the group of super fans who I was watching it with, everybody's interest in Twin Peaks starts to wane at this point. But one of the things about 90s television or just broadcast television that's been kind of forgotten now is that if you liked a show, okay, you would give it, like, if you were a regular watcher of a show, a lot of the time you would give it many, 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 many chances to turn around and get better, even if you thought the quality was declining. Season 2, Mork and Mindy comes to mind.
We haven't jumped the shark yet, but I can see the shark in the distance.
Yeah, the shark is
Fonzie's
coming
revving up
up.
the motorcycle.
Dun 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 dun. Yes. So this concludes, in a way, this concludes the story that people were watching when they started watching Twin Peaks. So, here's to Frank Silva. Here's
Frank.
to Laura
We barely
Palmer.
knew you, and that's a good thing. Got to know Bob a little too much. Boy, I do have a final thought. I am very saddened that Frank Silva died alone and sad. And I'm not sure how to feel about that, because that happens to a lot of people. It happened to a lot of people in the 90s for the exact same cause. And they're unremembered and they're unremarked. And there are people in your life that suffered greatly through this. I have a friend, one of my friends in the horror community, who was on the front lines of that entire battle, and he watched his husband die of this fashion before he was actually allowed to have a husband. And he lost many more friends than I did through that period, but I still lost some for this exact reason. And it was hard and it's painful. And grief needs to be expressed to be healed. You have to express your grief to heal. And Leland couldn't express his grief at what he'd done because somebody else had hijacked his body. So I feel sorry for Leland a little bit, but not all that much. He's still a bad guy. He did bad things. But Bob, don't feel sorry for Bob anyway, because Bob's living his best life. That's just the worst thing possible for everybody else, is for Bob to be happy. And on that happy note, Julie, what's next for us?
Well, what's next is the next episode of Twin Peaks. Okay. Dispute Between Brothers.
Dispute Between Brothers, yeah. Where, for the first time in forever, we meet new characters. So, weigh your expectations accordingly. If you watch that episode directly after this one, buckle up. All right, Julie, where can people find you online?
I am at gothhouse.org. My name, Julie McGalliard. I have books
you're the Queen of Darkness now.
Oh, I'm the Queen of Darkness, but under the name Julie McGalliard.
Yes.
I have books on Amazon, and I have books on Aris Entertainment. Wait, sorry.
Aris Entertainment. Well, actually, Aris Entertainment is all of us. We are an Aris Entertainment webcast. Aris Entertainment is a small press that I own and operate. My own books are there, and books of my friends. We're probably going to make an announcement of a new author very soon to Aris Entertainment, but we'll talk about that in a bit after this bit. I want to thank Julie for suffering through my rambles. We're going to cut most of those rambles out before the season broadcast, but some of them may survive. And if you enjoyed this content, please give us a like and subscribe. Leave us a comment for sure, because we'd love to hear from you and your thoughts about Twin Peaks, this episode in particular, and even kind of what we're doing here, right? We may, when we move on to our next bit, after we do Firewalk with Me and we go back into movies and the next television show, we might change the format up. We don't know. But feedback from you will really help us to make those decisions, because we like hanging out with Dave. Dave, I almost got it right. We like hanging out with Dave. He makes us happy. And until then, I've been your host, Scott James Magner, the idiot with a microphone.
And I am the Queen of Darkness.
Queen of Darkness. And we're saying bye-bye for now. Thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to support the stream, please like and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to watch it. But also, consider buying some books. ArisEntertainment.com is a progressive publisher that focuses on independent authors and the stories that they tell. We have a curated selection of novels in science fiction, fantasy, high fantasy, space opera, horror, just about any genre that we believe needs some support, and the authors that need to do so as well. You can find this website by using this QR code or by typing arisentertainment.com into your browser, and head over to our shop where you can get a free book written by me, Scott James Magner, called Homefront. Homefront is my 2014 science fiction novel, which I've later expanded into the Homefront trilogy of Invasion, Landfall, and Beachhead. But to get a sample, just go here, select the ebook, and you see it's $0. Free book delivered to you, your email. All you have to do is sign up for our mailing. That's it. That's all you need to do. Thank you very much for supporting us here at the Idiot with a Microphone channel, and we'll see you soon.